we're going to simplify the trig expression cosine of theta divided by 1 minus tan of theta plus sine of theta divided by 1 minus 1 divided by tan of theta. So basically, let's look at this. We're going to write everything in terms of sine and cosine, and so we're going to change these two right here. And we know tan of theta is sine of theta divided by cosine of theta. So I'm going to write this as cosine of theta divided by 1 minus sine of theta divided by cosine of theta. Now for this piece, I'm going to go ahead and write this 1 divided by tan of theta as cotan of theta. So that's going to be plus sine of theta divided by 1 minus cotan of theta. Now, this is going to be, if I get the common denominator, I'm going to get cosine of theta here, so I have to multiply this by cosine as well. So this is going to be cosine of theta divided by cosine of theta minus sine of theta, all divided by cosine of theta. All right, this one's going to be sine of theta divided by 1 minus cosine of theta divided by sine of theta. Same thing, we want the common denominator here. So basically, this part just right here is going to be sine of theta divided by sine of theta minus cosine of theta, all divided by sine of theta. All right, so I'm going to write this on here. So you might want to do this, but I'm going to write it all together here. So we basically have cosine of theta divided by cosine theta minus sine of theta. Then we had that plus sine of theta divided by sine of theta minus cosine of theta. All right, and this was divided by cosine of theta. This one was divided by sine of theta. So basically all we're going to do now is multiply these using your property of fractions. So that's going to give you cosine squared of theta divided by cosine of theta minus sine of theta. And then we're going to have plus sine squared of theta divided by sine of theta minus cosine of theta. Now what I notice is these are almost the same, except they're flipped around. So, and I also know my numerator has this Pythagorean identity in it. So what I'm going to do is multiply my numerator by -1 and my denominator by -1. When you these equal 1, so I'm just redressing this a little bit. So that's going to give me cosine squared of theta divided by cosine of theta minus sine of theta. And now this piece here, if I multiply -1 by this, I'm going to get minus sine squared of theta. And this, when I multiply this flips this around. Excuse me. So you have cosine of theta minus sine of theta. So, therefore, we can write this as, let's see, simplify this. So I'm going to use my common denominator here and put it all together. So this is going to give me cosine squared of theta minus sine squared of theta divided by cosine of theta minus sine of theta. Also, this has this form a squared minus b squared, your difference of squares, which equals a minus b times a plus b. So I'm going to expand this with my factoring facts and write this as cosine of theta minus sine of theta times cosine of theta plus sine of theta, all divided by cosine of theta minus sine of theta. Now what happens is these two cancel out, and your final answer simplified is cosine of theta plus sine of theta. And that's it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.